Hello vinyl freaks, it's the Danish record hunter here, and today we will be talking about a Danish beat band that formed way back in the 60s. They dissolved in the late 60s and then they reformed in 1975 with a different lineup, and at that period in time they were actually a supergroup. So we are talking about a band that is called the Baronets, and they released one album in 75 and it's called Gunpowder and Cannonball. Just to give you an insight into the Baronets' early career. So they formed way back in 1964 as kind of a beat band, you know, inspired by the British invasion and stuff like that. Early members of importance. Then we have Lasse Hellner, who was playing the guitar and singing. He later on started playing the bass in the band, and when the Baronets they dissolved, he would go on to join a band that was called the Moondust. They released one album. And then another member is Frank Lauritsen, and I guess he was playing probably the keyboards back then too, because he was later on when the band reformed, and also singing. He has a good voice, a good powerful soulful voice. So I think he was singing on the early singles that the band released at the time. They released a couple from 1966 and until 1968 or 9 or something. Me myself, I've only heard the singles like once and never really got into those, even though there's some stuff on them that is quite cool. So following the demise of the first period of the Baronets, Frank Lauritsen, he went on to perform in the Danish version of Hair that we had going on in the early 70s in Denmark. He also appeared in a television show we had that was called Huset på Christianshavn. So he was like doing some stuff there, like more in cinema and theater, TV. And then he decided he wanted to play in a band again, so he joined Midnight Sun on 2 of their albums while they were still, you know, performing. And that led pretty much to the next stage, which was the Baronets, you know, the comeback of the Baronets, and now as a supergroup with a different lineup. And now I'm gonna tell you about some of the other members in this period in the band. So, first off, we have to mention the guitarist Ole Fick. He became a member of the band, and he is an excellent player, you know, excellent guitarist, and also has a very, very strong and powerful singing voice. He was an earlier member of Burning Red Ivanhoe, which is one of Denmark's earliest progressive rock bands. They released a bunch of albums from 1969 and until 1974, and he's appearing on all of them. Then we also have the bassist, who is called Jens Elbøl, and I think he was the first bassist in the Danish heavy rock band called Sensory System. I'm not sure, but he was a member of the band, and I think he was the first bassist. He also was in a band that was called My Ship, and they released an album, I think, in 1972. Later on, of course, he also joined Midnight Sun on one album, was called Midnight Dream. And then last but not least, we have the drummer, the powerhouse drummer, who was called Carsten Smedegaard. And man, I think Carsten Smedegaard is probably my favorite drummer from the 70s in Denmark. You know, he appeared in Rainbow Band released an album in 1970, which was reworked for 1971, like re-recorded with the same cover. So the re-recording actually became Midnight Sun's first album. So he appeared on all the albums by Rainbow Band, Midnight Sun, and he's just a terrific drummer. So to talk about the sound of the band, this is kind of like rocking stuff. To my ears it sounds like something that would be unleashed in the US, like American rock. It's very funky. There is some blues rock in there, there's some progressive rock. Internationally, this album could have done more than well outside of Denmark, but here it didn't really, become any, big success. Okay, let's jump to the next part, and I'm gonna talk about the music on the album. I'm just gonna be mentioning the highlights, the songs that I really like. So let's get started.
Now words, only words, drags him down. When the quicksand politicians think they're on the ground. See the wide, hear the splits, hear the tapping sound. They don't feel, they don't see that the world is round. He does the best he can, does the best he can to believe in love.
Yeah, so here we have the title track, and this one is just like funky, it's very rocking too, and the vocals are powerful, the guitar work is stunning. Ole Fick, he was such a player, and I think the guitar solo he unleashes on this album, it's probably some of the best that I've heard from him in the 70s. So let's check that out. What a player he was. Okay, so the next track is called That's Alright.
Well, mama, she done told me, papa done told me too. Tell them, girl, you're fooling with me, they not good for you. Well, that's alright. That's alright. That's alright. That's alright.
This one is very awesome, it's funky and it's kind of jazzy too. I think it's the vocals are sung by Frank Lauritsen on this one. I really like his vocals, they are very powerful and soulful. He reminds me actually of the British singer John Gustafson, who was in Quatermass and he was in Hard Stuff. But of course, Frank Lauritsen, he does some stuff that reminds me of him, but maybe he sounds like John Gustafson with a potato in his mouth. No offense, I like this guy, he's really singing well, but he has more like this throaty kind of voice, and I like it. And okay, the comparison with a potato, of course, in Denmark we say, kartoffeldansker. Yeah, we like our potatoes. Hide and Seek, it's like a slower, slow burning track. I really like this one. It's not that it's very heavy, but it has a heavier feel to it. So really like this one. And of course the guitar work is stunning here too. So the last highlight I'm gonna mention in this video, it's a song called My Song.
I often sing about big rivers, though I ain't got nothing to tell you. Songs about everlasting friendships,
this one's a cool track. It ends the album with this kind of funky, semi-progressive vibe, and you know, it just has this mid-70s swagger to it. And the vocals, they're just powerful and, you know, kind of aggressive on this track, but in a kind of a soulful way. So around the same time as the release of the album, the band also put out a 7-inch. And this one has, on the A side, a Chuck Berry cover with a roll over Beethoven. It's like a mid-70s rock rendition of that track, and it's kind of cool, you know? Fine track, but of course I would rather have had a, you know, a Baronets original track, like a non-album track. The same I can say of the B-side, which is the Back on the Road Again. It appears on the album. It's a fine, straight, catchy rocker. I really like it, but of course on a 7-inch I'm a bigger sucker for non-album tracks. But it's still fun to have. Another interesting fact about the album. Like, this is the original print from 1975. It was put out on a label that is called Sonnet. A lot of Danish albums, rock albums at the time, was put out on this label. And in 1976 the band had signed with another Danish label that was called Exlibris, I think. And they put out a reissue of the album with a different cover. And it's this one here. Kind of like this cover too. It's kind of funky, where this one is more like black and white and, you know, darker, mysterious. But this one is cool, you know, and you see Ole Fick here with his guitar playing, doing what he does best. Even though he is singing almost just as good as his guitar playing, he is really, you know, a powerhouse musician. I think the main reason I bought the reprint of the album, it's because it's said that this is put out with another mix. So I thought, that's interesting. I played it a couple times. I cannot hear a big difference. Maybe it's just me who has not been listening, you know, with every little detail. But I think I will upload a vinyl rip of the first print and the second print, and you can find out yourself. So that's all from me this time. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you like the video, please like it and subscribe. I will make sure to put out a lot of other videos, so please take care, peace out, and drink lots of coffee. It's good for you.